Welcome to Big Bold Moves Abundant Life. Today I'm joined by Teresa Bueno, an inspiring author, podcaster, and improv enthusiast who shows women over 50 how to create their next chapter with courage and clarity. She helps turn the question, "What's next?" into the confident declaration, "Watch this." In this episode, Teresa shares her story of personal transformation, how she discovered joy through improv, and why her Spark quiz is helping women find purpose and passion at any age. If you're ready to embrace your own life reset and step boldly into abundance, this conversation is for you. Hi, friends. It's me, Lisa Marie, and welcome to the Big Bold Moves Abundant Life podcast. And today we have a wonderful guest with me, and it is Teresa Bueno. And Teresa is an author, a podcaster, an improv junkie, and we can talk about that in a little bit. And also, she has so many great things going on through her Spark quiz. And I took the Spark quiz. You can hear it's the Never Too Late show. She helps women over 50 years old turn the question, "What's next?" wah, 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 into the confident declaration, "Watch this." So, Teresa, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad to see you and meet you and get to know you better. And I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for you to share and tell us a little bit more about yourself. And typically, when we start this Big Bold Moves Abundant Life podcast conversation, I like to ask you, tell me what abundance means to you.
Abundance to me is the a state of being. It's like a state of mind that is not so much about what you have, but how you feel inside. And so if you feel fulfilled, expressed, loved, and loving, that to me is abundance. And oh yeah, and gratitude. Like being in a state of gratitude. If that to me is abundance.
Awesome. I love that. And it moves us right into your tagline. And your tagline is helping women go from what next, like we said, to watch this. And tell me a little bit about how that became your mission and how that became your tagline.
By living it, actually, because when we went to Costa Rica to live, actually to create this fabulous project, the ecotourism project called Terra Paradise. And I spent 10 years. We started it in 2006. And then the boom, the world blew up. The financial world blew up in 2008. And so we were unable to get funding for our project. But we didn't know how long it was going to last. So we hang in there until finally in 2016, 10 years later, I had to give up and come back to the States. I was 65. I'd spent what I thought were my prime years of 55 to 65 in Costa Rica trying to make this project work. And then I returned home with my tail between my legs, 65 years old, and thinking, that's it for me. What else could there possibly be? And so I moped around, tried to figure out what I was going to do for about a year or so. And then in the next year, I took my improv class for the first time. I'd always loved improv, but I had never taken the time to learn it, which is what I wanted to do. So it was like, I'm doing this. So I jumped into improv, and whoa, boy, did it change my life. And it lit me up. And suddenly everything started becoming possible again. And I joined a group. We formed a group actually. And we got to travel all over the country performing improv, and then Canada and England and Sweden and Paris, doing what I love to do. Is talk about abundance. It's like life was just couldn't get any better. And that's all because I found that thing that lit me up. And I think that was it. The thing that lit me up gave me the determination. Nothing felt like work. It was all play because I was doing what I love to do. So I want this for other women, particularly women, because women work so hard taking care of their families and their jobs. And then they get to this point, and is this all there is? And I want them to know, no, no, girlfriend, you got a spark. And you need to find it if you don't know what it is and go live your spark. So that's it in a nutshell.
You took all my questions.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry,
that's
sorry, sorry.
okay. No,
I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
I
I'm
could,
kidding. I just see your passion. I can see all of it. It's just oozing out of you. And we had an experience last week that was really great. We can talk about that in just a moment. And my next question actually was going to be, you say reinvention isn't starting over, it's starting fresh. And clearly that was your whole message and is your whole message. And it's such a powerful shift to go from that place of defeat almost. I could hear it
oh,
in your voice. You're
totally.
totally changing your mannerisms and everything else, facial expression. When you talked about that season to where
Of
you are
tough.
today, it's a total spark, like you said it. And of course, we talk about big, bold moves in our lives. And boy, oh boy, you just defined a big, bold move that didn't, again, defeat you, but instead it took what wasn't, could have been, you tried, and you flipped that script to where you are today. So
Exactly.
kudos and big
Thank
hurrah
you.
because I know that you're not holding it to yourself, you're sharing it with other people. And so many of our listeners are at that crossroads, particularly maybe in this moment, and they're wondering if they can really begin themselves. So, will you talk a little bit about what a midlife crisis might be and what a blank slate, or how women can use everything that they've already done as that fuel to push them to what's next? What can they personally do?
I think the first thing to do is to take stock.
This episode of Big Bold Moves Abundant Life is brought to you by Fearlessly Debt Free. If you have debt, mortgage debt, car loans, any type of debt, credit cards, college loans, you are interested in knowing how you can pay that debt off into a third to a half of the time faster, or you would like to save a third or a half of the amount of money that you're spending on interest and fees, you can click the link below, get on my calendar. We can have a discovery call. It's a free analysis to show you exactly how much you can save. Fearlessly debt free, where we want you to live an abundant life.
You start with what do you love? What lights you up? And that could be different things for different people. You could be someone who enjoys mentoring or teaching. You could be someone who is like me that likes to perform and to be out there. You could be whatever it is that lights you up. It could be taking care of animals or being a political activist, or it could be whatever. That's why we have the Spark Quiz, is for those who don't already know, to help sort out what might be the thing. Because women, particularly, I think we shut ourselves down. We put it on the back burner. Taking care of ourselves and is like the last thing that we do. We take care of our families, we take care of our jobs, we take care of others. And whenever all of that is done, and you're like in your mid 50s or something, or somewhere along there, it could happen at any point. When you wake up one day and go, good grief, is this all there is? Is this it? And there starts, you notice this yearning. There's this yearning, this angst about something inside me is just not complete. And paying attention to that angst, that itch that needs to be scratched, that's what the next phase of your life can be about. So determining what turns you on, and then with that, taking stock of your assets. What are my skills? What are my strengths? What are my talents? Some people may think, oh, I don't really have any skills. Meanwhile, she has planned the wedding for her niece and organized 500 guests and done all of that work, because it's so easy for us to overlook our skills. We think because it's easy for us, there's nothing to it, right? There's no value to it if it feels easy and enjoyable. And that's one thing I really want to break up, is no, your gifts are to be shared and they do have value. So just discovering that and taking stock of your assets. I
See,
add to that too. You may not be the person may not be really objective enough. One thing that they could do is to ask people, ask their friends, ask their families, what do you think my strengths are? What do you think I'm good at? What's the sort of thing that if you wanted help on something, I would be the person you would call? Asking those kinds of questions and interviewing people in your community, because they're going to reflect back to you what you cannot see. And that's where you're going to be in the world anyway, in the eyes of others. So that's your gift. These people have been accepting your gifts. So they're the best ones to tell you what they are.
Awesome. So good. So good. You got my wheels turning too. I'm thinking that's a
Yes,
really good, an actionable step that anybody can make.
yes,
And I know too that I feel some people are afraid to ask those questions. And you have to approach the question understanding, okay, I might get some feedback that's not going to direct me in the position that I think I should be going in. And that's a good thing. I feel like that is a powerful thing. Like you said, people can see you better for how you may see yourself. So that's great. Let's move on to a quick question about one of the favorite things that you say is that play is the secret weapon for reinvention. And I love that. So tell us what clearly improv was that for you, I can imagine, right?
absolutely.
Because that's a lot of play. I experienced it with you, which was so much fun. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. And I can see that was a big, bold move.
Oh, it is a very big, bold move for people to take improv, the people who have never done that before. Honestly, I would recommend it to everyone. People who feels like they're introverts, people who are extra, it doesn't matter. It's just a wonderful exercise in becoming present, listening, and building brick by brick with other people, collaboration. It's just these wonderful life skills that are the make up the foundation of improv. So first I'll just put that out there because it's just like a quick, fast way to get to your best self that I know of, that I've experienced in my life. So if you're not willing to do that, what does bring you joy? Ask yourself that. Where am I the happiest? What lights me up? What, whenever I'm doing that, I disappear? By that, I'm so aware and present to the experience that I really don't have any self consciousness. I'm not like looking at myself or wondering anything. I'm just in the moment. That could be something like, it could be anything. It could be cooking, it could be bird watching, it could be walking in the woods, it could be climbing rocks, it could be swimming, it could be any number of activities. And that's what you want to pay attention to. Where is the moment in time that I get lit up? What do I enjoy doing that doesn't show up like work, but shows up like play? Maybe it's whenever you're teaching someone something. Do you know what I mean, Lisa Marie, when I talk about just disappearing, that you just become that thing?
Absolutely. It's you're so focused on the other thing, you're not concerned about how does my hair look? How does how am I presenting myself? Because really that's not important. What's important is that you're feeling that pure joy, being
Yes,
authentically where you are, where you're meant to be, and who you are.
yes.
Doesn't matter to anything or anybody else.
It's
Yeah,
just, it's all of that is just not there. It just disappears.
right.
And it's, you become that experience.
Absolutely. And I like to think too that I'm a praying girl. So I know that I was not created to see myself. I was only created to see outside of myself. A reflection might have been decades, centuries ago, a reflection in a body of water, which is distorted. So we come up against cameras and mirrors and selfies and all of this self-focused discipline, which is something I don't think is a great thing. and we don't see outside of ourselves, but absolutely feeling joy and experiencing joy. I was explaining this to a group that I work with that's a nonprofit and it's Girls in Recovery. And I said, do you ever just get that pure joy? You don't know why, or there's nothing huge that has happened to bring you to that point, and you just feel filled up. And I do that when the weather gets nice, the windows are open, and I just feel the surrounding of just being at peace with where I am and who I am. And it's just a physical feeling. And I don't know that a lot of people are able to say they can feel that because we're so distracted with so many things coming at us in all directions. I understand completely what you mean. You're not aware of yourself.
Right. And our culture is, to your point, our culture is just not structured for that. We don't, it's go fast, accomplish, get this done. There's always this rush. I don't ever remember growing up with my parents or anybody else asking me what brought me joy. What do you want to do? What would you love to do? Nobody ever asked me that. It was always, you got to do this, you got to do that, and if it's not
Performance.
your parents or your teachers or someone like that, it's society, our culture. And we get labeled, oh, you are a mother, you are a grandmother. Grandmothers are supposed to do this. And that we get all these labels, and that muscle of actually exploring where our joy lies is so atrophied that for many people, if not, I dare say most people, they have not a clue.
Right.
They don't, it has been pushed down, ignored, put off so long that they don't even know what it is. Many
Yes, I
people.
agree. And it's just a matter of coming to a place of wisdom. And we come to a place of wisdom when we reach certain ages. We have the understanding of knowing, oh my goodness, this is something I have control of. Nobody has to label me anymore. I'm putting myself in the place where I want to be. Let me ask you this question. Can you share a time when you personally said yes, and then it completely shifted your perspective or opened up new doors for you?
Yeah, of course, it goes back to improv. That was where my big yes was. That being on the stage and being in my first student showcase and the terror that I felt, the absolute terror. And not just me, my other classmates, we were all like, oh, we're going to be in front of an audience. It was terrifying. And to go out there with not knowing what we were going to say, I worried about it. I feared it for weeks in advance. And then to get out there and actually do it and trust that it would come to me what I needed to say, that if I just trusted my training, that it would work out. And knowing the beautiful part about improv, there's no mistakes anyway. Everything's a gift. So you're not going to mess up. And it was like just giving myself permission, saying yes. We're asked if we want to do it or not. We didn't have to do it. But saying yes to that moment and getting out there with my classmates and doing our games in front of the whole world, it seemed, was huge. It reshaped what was possible.
I love that. And so, specifically, the door that has opened to you now is taking that leap, taking that step forward. And I only laugh because I just think of last weekend. It was crazy. In my mind, it was crazy. Probably just normal for you, but because you've done it over and over again. But clearly, it opened a big door for you because here you are, not only in the position of being an improv professional, but you are also helping others to step over that boundary. So it opened the door of you now being an instructor. I guess we could call you a
Mm,
professor of improv, where
yes.
you were leading and you were showing and you were demonstrating and you were just doing the things that an improv prompt person would have to do. And you did it with such grace that you made everybody feel comfortable because you knew being one who's experienced it yourself from those groundbreaking days where you started out, it is
Mhm.
nerve-wracking, and the judgment that nobody's judging us. We're all in the same boat, but we put on ourselves.
That's
So
it.
it opened a big door for you. So do you want to explain a little bit how maybe somebody listening might think, oh, I think I would like to maybe explore that avenue? What would they do to make that happen?
To take improv classes?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most big cities have improv available. It's like a parallel universe. But there's over here, there's improv in most large cities. So you could just research, you could go to Google it and look for improv classes near me. That would be one way. Another thing that's possible, if you're living somewhere where that's not possible, there are improv classes online. And believe it or not, they work pretty much the same. It's not exactly the same, but you get an experience of it. And the beautiful thing about being online is you can take from some of the best teachers in the world, because I've taken from teachers in England, in Spain, in Turkey. So you can just everywhere, you're unlimited. So those would be the places that I would look. Also, you can look for less formal applications in places like Meetup that you could check out to see if there's anything. That's where a lot of people have found FST is through Meetup. And you can also find performances. That's also a good way to really get to see what it's all about and to see what's possible, is just to go to some performances. For me, when I did that, I was so hooked. I was just like, okay, I want to do that. So that's what I would suggest.
And I think too that with you giving the type of rundown, and of course we have social media and we have access to so much at our fingertips with computers these days, that could be for any topic. Again, doing that assessment of your life and the things that bring you joy and the things that you did as a child to really go down that avenue to open doors that you may not even expect. And then sometimes, like you said, you were hooked. You just have to try it. It may be
Yeah,
completely not in your realm of thoughts, and you hear of something, go for it. And there, like you
absolutely.
said, there's so many different things. And I just did a conversation yesterday with my live, and I talked about you and your experience that trickled over to me. And again, I feel like we were put at the right place at the right time for the right moment to do things like that. And it was great. It was so much fun. Let's go ahead and move over to, we talk about the spark, because here we are
Hmm.
at that juncture right now where we're talking about what lights you up, what gives you that spark. Talk a little bit more about your spark quiz. I took the spark quiz. It was very easy. It was very entertaining to watch at the end. But tell me, what is the goal? And I know the Spark quiz helps to direct you in that way, but you come along with that Spark quiz. So it's not just a one and done. You are there to support, and your words are so wise. How did it come about, and what is it that your expectation is with your Spark quiz?
It's exactly that, to help women get over that. Or it works for anybody, but I had women over 55 because I know so many, my daughter in laws and other women I know that are like at that point in their lives where they're looking at what's next. I'll tell you a story that I love this story. This woman that works for my husband's company, and it's a small company, and so I know her, and was asking for people to take the spark quiz and give me feedback. She took the spark quiz, and it reignited something in her that was long gone. She realized her passion for creating jewelry. She had done that when she was younger, and then life happens and she'd gotten out of it. And then she writes me one day and she said, your spark quiz inspired me. I'm starting to make jewelry again. And she said, and I'm going to name it. She was going to name it something Spark, but it was too hard to get it. So she named it after her dogs. I forgot the name of it. But now she has a Facebook page and she's setting up the store, an online store, and she's making this beautiful jewelry and selling it online because she took the spark quiz and got reignited. It got reignited in her. And she says, it just made me remember how much joy that it brought me to make this jewelry. So that is why I created the Spark Quiz, was to do exactly that. Because so many women either don't know because it's just been stuffed down so far and so deep for so long, or they think it's too late. I'm too old. Listen, I was 66 years old when I took my first improv class. And then I was in my late 60s, early 70s, and traveling to Europe to perform. Not only that, I'm in the Florida Studio Theater's main cast that performs on Saturday nights. And this is at 74. So I don't want to hear nothing about I'm too old. I don't want to hear it. You're not too old. You just haven't been sparkified, because when your spark gets lit, your age is just, it's just not an issue. So
So you can even probably comment to the fact that when your spark is lit, you feel younger, you perform younger, you act younger, you forget until maybe you look in that mirror that we talked about a moment ago. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Where did I come from?
Yeah, yeah, don't look. Just don't look. Just go over here.
That's
If
right.
you
We're supposed to see out. Remember, we're
you
looking
see
out.
it, see it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That's just so true, because
Yeah.
the other thing is, often you may find yourself participating with people younger than you. I am. My cohort, the people I play with, are interns out of college, anywhere from 22 to, I think, the at the FST cast, the next one closest to me is like 56 or 8. And over here I am, woohoo, 74. And I feel like I'm one of the gang.
That's the
And they
key. That
treat
is
me
the
like I'm
key.
one of the gang.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They see me. They don't see the meat suit.
And
They
the
see
other
the
thing
person.
too is they see your joy, they see your spark, they see your energy. That always attracts people to you because they want what you have. And in life, we're like we talked about earlier, we're so encumbered by the stuff, by the things, by the keep up, by the things that typically will drag us down. And that's part of our society. So it's up to us to make those steps, to take those steps. Question is, do you personally have daily or weekly practices that help you to stay in that motion and to keep you from moving forward into the what's next thinking all the time? Are there new things down the road for you?
I think the thing that really supports me is my community. And I think that's the case regardless of what your spark is. You need a community. You need to find your peeps, your tribe. People in my community, they're just as lit up about improv as I am. So we share that. And that creates such a tight community, such a supportive atmosphere, such a joyous place. And this is one of the reasons I feel so much abundance in my life, is because of these relationships that I have with people that share with our shared joy, our shared experience that we get to do together. And I think I meet several times a week with different people. I rehearse with the FST improv cast. I also have another group, the Let's Get Real, that I direct. And we meet at least once a week to rehearse. And then I teach. So I have these kinds of supports that help keep me connected to my spark, so that life doesn't just take over. And it fuels me. It gives me energy. It fuels me for whatever's next. And what's next for me is, of course, like we talked about, is the podcast. This is my set for it's the Never Too Late show. And that's where I'm interviewing now. I'm interviewing people who have gone through this transition of going from maybe corporate to being self employed and doing the thing that they love, and what that process was like for them, their experience of that. Also, people who can coach and support people going through that process. So that's where what I'm excited about. And of course, I have created a course that goes with the Spark quiz called Spark to Action, which is a program because knowing something and getting in action about it are two different things. That's what I'm working on. And my big launch is coming this fall, probably in October. I want to get what they call a binge library. I'd like to get several podcast interviews on our website so that are on our YouTube channel. So when people do come and start seeing it, they can see lots of different ones.
And that was my question too, is what is the next step for you to even encourage people to work with you?
Yeah.
Clearly, the things that you're doing right now with your set, which is beautiful, and moving forward to that podcast. And we all know the podcast is not a comfortable thing at first. It's a new season, it's a new juncture. And I don't know, I can't speak for you, I can speak for myself, but this in itself has been such a learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
And you and I work together closely with some coaching that we do. And knowing that you do put those people in your circle, the ones that can support you, help you, motivate you, encourage you, and bring you to a place where you may not see for yourself, but they can encourage you to do more. And to know that we do have a choice. We have an opportunity to select the people that we allow into our circle, into our life. And I always say we're the average of the 5 people that we are closest to. And that is on all realms of life. And clearly, you're picking the people, you're picking your peeps. And I
Mhm.
love that. And just logistically, to have you fill out the Spark quiz, you just have to be in connection with you and you'll lead them over to that Spark quiz.
Or no,
They
they can just go right now. They can go to takethesparkquiz.com.
Okay, there you go. Take the sparkquiz.com and then follow all the instructions, and
That's right.
you'll get all the information that's going to light you up or put you in the direction to be lit up.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about overcoming objections for just a moment
Okay.
because you and I are talking here. Everything's wonderful. We're having a great time. We've got some lights. We've got the beautiful set behind you. But the person who might be watching, who might be saying, yeah, but you don't know about dot.
Hmm.
So speak to that just for a moment to allow people to maybe let their guard down for a minute. And I feel like we are enough. And so you might have somebody listening who may not think that this is for them to step out of that situation they're in, even though it's not bringing them joy, but they have to be there for whatever reason. I'd like to think, even on a financial basis, somebody might be thinking, oh, I don't even have 2 minutes in the day. Talk to that for just a moment, how they can implement even a spark throughout the day that would keep them moving towards bringing more joy into their life, attracting it.
Yes. And I think for those people who feel like they don't have time, that is even more important to find out, to at least know where your joy lies. And then what you can do when you know that, you only have to have one person who will share your joy in that, your interest in that, and dedicate just a little bit of time once a week or whatever, just to talk to them about it. Maybe when you're driving home from work, or that you find someone to connect with, and then maybe go experience that together. Make time, because this is like putting on your own oxygen mask first, like they tell you when you get on an airplane, the safety processes. For you to be your best self in fulfilling whatever role it may be that you may feel is not necessarily what you want to do, perhaps your work, or perhaps taking care of elderly parents, to whatever you might be struggling with. Taking some time to take care of yourself is the greatest thing that you can do to serve them better. Taking care of yourself. And what that looks like depends on where your joy is. But you have to do it. Otherwise, you're just facing burnout, short fuses, ineffectiveness. You don't expect your car to run on diesel if it's a gasoline car.
Right.
You're not going to get very far with that. And this is the same. You have to put the right fuel in your body. And I'm not just talking about what you eat, I'm talking about taking care of you, your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit. And when you can do that and you can bring your joy to what you're doing, you'll be surprised what opens up. New possibilities start opening up. You're
Absolutely.
if you're interested in something and you give some attention to that, you'll start noticing other opportunities for that. It's just human. It's actually a part of our brain. I can't remember what it's called, but that if you decide to buy a red Ferrari, then suddenly you see red Ferraris. Oh my gosh, I didn't know there were so many red Ferraris around. And you start seeing these opportunities.
It's the reticular activator, I
That's it.
believe. Yeah.
That's it.
Mhm. What
It's
you put out, you get back.
totally.
And we can even speak to that for a moment too, because I know from my previous career, I would coach women and I would help them and encourage them. And we have to take account of who is in our circle. So if we are getting on the phone and we're talking to somebody that's part of our drive home, we do have to step away from that conversation for a moment and ask ourselves, are we feeding into what's not bringing us joy? Or are we feeding into what is bringing us joy? And I like to take a step back and say, would I trade places with that individual? And if I can't say yes, then maybe I need to reassess. And this is a tough conversation because a lot of times we live with people that we can't particularly get away from, and maybe the conversation isn't always positive, but we can certainly put on that shield and be kind and courteous, but we don't have to let them into our being, into who we are.
I
So,
agree.
yes, we do get more of what we focus on, more of what we put, more of what we feed, we get more of. So, we have to be cautious and careful with that whole
Absolutely.
action.
And I think another thing that women in particular get sucked into is this feeling that they need to fix everything. If something's going on with somebody, we have this desire to pull to help them fix it. And it's no, we can just allow people to be where they are, let them be in their process. A book that I read recently that I highly recommend, it's Let Them by Mel Robbins. Are you familiar with the book?
I have read it. I have listened to it. I have sent it to people,
Yes,
done
yes,
it
yes.
all. Yes, absolutely. An amazing concept and so simple.
So I highly recommend that as well. And then you might be surprised how much free time you open up if you just stay in your lane.
And finally, if you could leave our audience with one bold encouragement about reinvention and
Yep,
abundant life, there's that word,
yep.
what would it be?
I would say that re- reinvention is not about starting over. There's really no such thing as starting over because every moment we live, we have new experience, new knowledge. It's just about a reset, resetting. All that we bring, all of these experiences, all this knowledge, it's a reset. We lining it up, organizing it, and now we can move forward in a way that's by design, not by default. So that's what reinvention to me is living life by design, not by default.
I love that. When you say reinvention by design, you are in control. You are the
Absolutely.
one leading and taking the things into your life that you find are bringing you that joy that you so deserve. We deserve it. We do. Teresa, thank you so much for sharing your heart and sharing your spark. Holy moly, you just pop out of the screen over there.
Listen,
And
I love living. I love living. And that's what motivates me to do a lot of what I do in terms of taking care of my body and taking care of my mindset. And what I do is life is such a trip, such a gift. I want to hang around as long as I can.
And with that attitude, you will, and you will continue to inspire others to do the same. So, thank you so much for being with us. And I'm excited for women that have some wisdom to be able to really look forward to what their spark is and what gets them out of bed every single morning. So
Yes.
thank you again. And I know people can reach you at the different links that we'll put down in the show notes. And go ahead and take that spark quiz and see what your spark is so that you can get started yesterday.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to be here.
We've all been there, feeling stuck in the grind,
What
chasing
an
that
uplifting
freedom.
and fun conversation with Teresa. She reminded us that transformation isn't about starting over, it's actually about aligning all of your life experiences into a powerful fresh start by design and not by default. If today's episode spoke to you, follow the show, share it with a friend, and leave a quick review so more can find and discover these empowering stories. You'll find all of Teresa's links in the show notes, and that includes her amazing Spark quiz and her Never Too Late show. And if you're ready to design your own bold future with a financial clarity, don't wait, time is money. Book your free discovery call with me today. And until next time, keep making big, bold moves towards your abundant life.